Do you find that, like, I think that it's something in my brain lately that technology now is so insane with everything that you have to do all this other shit in order to just get to do what you originally wanted to do?
Yeah.
Like, you want to do comedy, but it's like, oh, you want to do comedy? That's awesome. But you know what you need to do? Like, you need to learn how to get a social media following on TikTok. And you're like, I don't want to do TikTok breakdancing. I don't want to do...
Right.
Why do I got to do that? Well, you got to do that so that you can get booked at, the Chuckle Hut.
And it's very real. Most emails that I get on behalf of on behalf of comics from managers include their social media followings, all those numbers, which mean little to me in the sense of my weekend bookings. I want to know that comics are funny.
Thank you, because you know what? A lot of comics out there now are really disappointed in the fact that most of the bookings and clubs are like, hey, so what's your social media following presence? And you're like, I don't know, hilarious. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I'm not going to let your audience down.
Kind of annoys me. Now, in saying that, wanting to produce some bigger shows in, bigger venues in my city or otherwise, I have to look at that a little bit differently. But my booking process is a little atypical, mostly because watching submission clips is painful. And I really tried. I know how important it is for comics. I know how hard they work to submit, but most of my bookings happen based on doing industry work at festivals, interactions that I've had, sometimes just pure vibe from interacting on social media one time. And I nailed that one out of the park.
You like the person.
Right.
Which it doesn't sound...
I've taken a couple of risks on a couple of occasions. I'm not recommending that to anybody, but I took a couple of risks on my vibe and connection with comics and a little bit of noticing their presence on social media, but not their numbers, and blind booked them, and best friends to this day, and they are straight killers that should be more famous than they are.
So it's just a feeling
that
sometimes.
Worked out. But yeah, and that's part of the kismet that you're tattooing on my back.
Kismet.
Yeah, I find that
Right there, too.
those moments, those interactions have just in my life tended to present themselves at the right moments. And
you're going on gut sometimes.
Yeah, which is like the only
wrong.
area of my life where I'm going on gut.
You just get a feeling when you see a video, like, well, and you know what? Speaking to that, because I'm sure a lot of comics have the same questions that I do. When a booker sees a tape, what is it you're really looking for? Some people say it's just the laughs. They don't care what the material is. Some people, it's a look of a comic. But like, what do you pop in you pop in a VHS tape. Apparently, you're booking in the '80s, and all of a sudden,
but that's what it feels like.
What is it that you see that you go, that person or not that person?
Okay, I'm going to give two answers, and I also want Mark to jump in
absolutely,
because he gives me perspective sometimes. I have a hard time watching clips that are of poor quality, visually and audio. I often have a very hard time hearing the comic. I have a very and this is just a personal thing. I have a hard time watching clips by myself because I don't get that community piece of it. Okay. And so often comics that may be very funny, I internalize it differently sitting on my couch, doing it as a job. So we've thrown around ideas like, can we do a watch party? And, that sounds crazy, but like that might get me watching more. I'm more apt to watch comedy specials or, podcasts or things like that to get a feel for someone's humor. But that's not the industry standard. The industry standard is having a high quality as best possible 5 to 7 minute clip and a longer clip ready at request of 20 to 30 or your stand-up specials upon request. And the quality, the sound quality needs to be good. The film quality isn't as important to me, except I do watch for cadence, presentation, energy, and if the quality of the video takes away from that, or there's no video, I miss out on some of what the comic has to offer. And there's lots of great ways to get more professional clips done, and it seems like these young kids have all kinds of abilities to do their reels with the text overlay, all of that. I would be more apt to watch that as well.
Well, a lot of comic bookers will say that they...
Well, Mark has the microphone, so I'm leaning over. I'm not flirting with him.
No, it's okay if you do.
Wait, Mark has a microphone?
Yeah.
When did Mark get a microphone?
The best clips I have of me at clubs is done by Mr. Chris Silva over there on the...
No, Chris has done some stuff that I've submitted too as well.
I
Yeah.
was just telling him outside, every time I go to a club asking for like a tape, I said I send him one of yours because it makes me look more important than I am. It's very professional.
Yes.
If I tape myself on my iPhone, I have to schmuck.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get it that sometimes in order to get a clip to submit, you have to record, and you should record as many of your sets as you can to watch back. Mark's really good about watching the playback.
Organic patterns. Yeah. You want to capture it because it'll never happen again.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm asking for my clip from, I can't say, the show I did, not ripe jokes or just huh? No, the one last night.
Oh.
What's Adam's show at
The New Joke Show.
West Side? Yeah.
The New Joke
Yeah.
Show. Yes, you actually you're supposed to go up there and not do your A material. You're supposed to go up there and do new shit. And if it bombs, whatever.
Yeah, and he freaked me out.
We like to, as a comedian, love it. Because, you know, every comedian loves watching their friends eat a dick.
Yeah. And here's what happened. This was so beautiful. Adam terrified me about this. I never plan ahead. I showed up at the club, wrote 7 brand new minutes as I was getting prepared, and I did not eat a dick. Mark, please confirm.
Not that night.
Yeah.
Not.
Usually on stage, that's what the grab the flow on for.
Yeah. It felt really good for me. It was a new challenge that I was very nervous that I was going to need to look at my phone the whole time. And it came out and it delivered well, but I want that video because I need to remember how the jokes came out, because those are good things to build on. Normally, I don't want my clip because I don't want to watch it back and find out maybe it wasn't as... That's my ego.
The hard part, getting onto like the video thing, talking about the bookers, is like you get a clip or you get a video, and say you get yourself a good, like, I don't know, half-hour set, right? You record your half-hour set. They're like, well, we want to have the whole set, but we don't want it to be cut in any way, shape, or form. And my whole problem has been that if you're doing comedy, the first couple of minutes should be about what's happening right in that room. You know, so you're like, hey...
Which is a waste for a booker to watch.
And you're never going to show that. So, for example, like you do a show, and I'm like, I'm all of a sudden I'm in, South Bend, Indiana. I'm going to talk about stuff that might be right local that the crowd is going to love and get back. Okay, cool. But it doesn't work good for submitting. And now they're like, well, you can't cut it. I'm like, why can't I just start the video 5 minutes in when I'm actually doing material versus me going and talking about the hot dog place across the street or some local legend that no one gives a shit about when they're looking at my video in Philly, you know?
And here's the thing. They're going to watch about the first 30 seconds. And if you don't draw them in the first 30 seconds, at least that's my experience.
That would be my advice to any comedian. Any tape you're sending to a booker, they usually ask for anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes. Do your 3 best jokes up front just for that tape, because then they'll look at it, and they'll go,
and jump right into your set.
Right, but
boom, I'm looking at the headline.
But
If
that's
you're saving your best for last, like if you want a regular set, like when I did comedy, Carrie Carruthers was my teacher. She's like an old psychopath that did comedy stellar in the Patrice Giraldo days. So that's how tough she is. She she's a badass. So she always taught us, like, open with your second best joke, then do all your filler shit, and then close with the best. If you're sending it to a booker, I would do your three best right up front.
Yeah.
Right. It's like back when I started, back in my day, we would send them DVDs. Usually when you
Oh, I have some DVD. I have DVD submissions from.
you would mail a DVD with your name, with like you're an actor, name, email, and your cell phone number, and you would fucking literally mail it to the club. Eventually, they would just like,
Throw it.
Stand with their foot and go. Some of them would watch them, and yeah, you have your three best up front. They go,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good enough.
Yeah, but
I'll
that-
feature him out."
And I don't know if comics know this, but it is not a requirement to start your set with "Give it up for the host," "Give it up for," all of those things.
Hey, how's
They-
everybody doing? No,
Yes,
go,
But you
"Right."
have
that's
to-
also a personal pet
But
peeve.
that's hard to do. So like to go into a room and just immediately walk up and start doing material, just being like, I really hate golfing. Golfing's a terrible sport. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? What do you have to almost be like, I don't know. I always feel like you have to give a couple of minutes, not necessarily to crowd work, but to at least address, hey,
I know what you're talking about.
I'm wearing this tonight,
I've done that when I was like, hey, what's going on, South Bend?
Yeah,
But then I go right into anybody here, except you
Right.
Go right into the drug joke.
right. And if you're recording for the intent of
Yeah,
submission,
yeah.
you can leave that off. I have stepped on stage and literally just started my set, and honestly, I prefer it because the rest of it feels so like, I don't know, not fake, but forced. I mean, I could say thanks for having me and things like that, but a lot of that feels a little bit forced.
I always feel like I have to say something about what's happening right in that moment, right in that place, because then
Like
it
to acknowledge
suspends
the crowd?
Well, because then they're like, oh, he just said that, and that he must have just wrote that, so all of this must be off the top of his head, because people are, they don't realize. It makes
Yeah.
them more engaged, like, oh. And immediately I'm gonna, do like that one or two things, maybe 30 seconds, a minute of the room, or
Can I
hey,
sit
give it
up
up
for
for
a
that guy.
Just sit up for a minute.
No, yeah.
Thank you.
Give it up for that guy. Look at him with the thing and the thing. And then you go into your material, but then when you send that as a submission, they're like, no, we want you to go right into your material. And I'm like,
Right.
even when I'm watching TV and if I see a comedian start his set off with just immediate material, I feel like
No, I totally
you
understand.
got
that.
nothing
But,
for the
well,
people.
You've seen what Keith Anthony does, and he taught me that back in the day, and now you see that I do it.
Yeah.
Like when we were doing like that show upstate, where remember Diana came with us with Rachel and with
Right. Yep.
like I walked right up there and started making fun of the room.
Right. You have to get into it.
That's what Keith Anthony does. Like he walks over and goes, look at this fucking place. Like, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of comics do that in my room.
Keith Anthony used to, well, yeah, I remember I did it at your place. Like,
Yeah, it's a good thing you're a familiar.
Yeah, the drop is like a purple backdrop, and there's sparkles and crystals and shit all over.
Let me explain, Rob.
Decorations by Elton John.
Yeah.
Hey, it's this thing.
And I heckled him and said, fuck you, with love. The background on those drapes is our old spot had velvet purple drapes, and they were a staple in our old location. I tried to keep them, but they were so embedded
Velvet purple
with
drapes.
And the boys set that up, and it was it was beautiful. Purple's kind of. I didn't also make the color purple in the neon lights, but purple is our color.
The color purple
But
with Whoopi Goldberg.
I
right?
tried to salvage those drapes. They were so embedded with cigarette smoke and
says
like
patina.
green.
I apologize.
Wait, hold on. Are you telling me that you could smoke in your club?
We couldn't by the time I came in, but they had been there for
Oh, I was excited for a minute.
7 years by that point. And
There's gorgeous lobby
Yeah.
outside with the homeless people, with the
Yeah.
homeless people asking me for cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
The hockey moms too.
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't have those at the old spot, but in the kitchen was a lot of bar food. So I laid the drapes out on my living room floor, tried soaking them with Dawn dish soap, everything I could do to get that smell out. It didn't survive. I used them one final time for a big show and realized
Burned them?
No, they're still actually in our little tiny storage room, which is a bathroom, but bygones.
Bring them back out. Screw that.
And I
Smell
can't.
of comedy right
I
there.
can't. But you know, like I'm pretty extra.
Finale show. Bring him out
Well, that's a
and just leave him alone.
that's a possibility. But like I'm a pretty extra girl. You see my eyelashes, you see the glitter. So the glitter drape or the sequin drapes make sense. And many a comic starts out their set to win over the crowd by shitting on my drapes. And if you're familiar with me, it's a funny joke. And if you're not, I'm offended.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's good.
Since I said, who decorated this place with Liberace? And then I said Elton John, and I was just picking a different gay guy. I might have said Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. There's been a lot of really good ones, to be honest.
Appropriate. No.
I don't think Bruce was gay.
No.
He was purpley, but he wasn't
No.
gay.
He was purpley, but he wasn't gay.
But despite all that talk about videos, the real way to get a spot at the club is for Heather to just see you perform.
Yeah.
For Heather to get out to wherever you're performing.
Yeah, it's the best
watch
way.
you perform and go, I liked the comedy, or I liked their personality, or I liked what they did with the audience, or how they were able to control or get the room going.
Yeah. And
Feel it so much better. Like I've even had sets where I'm like, I know I did really good. Everyone loved me tonight. And then I go home and listen to it and I'm like, it doesn't sound.
it doesn't translate.
It doesn't sound like what I felt or what they felt.
Yeah.
It's still a good tape. But that's also because you don't mic the audience.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, now I will say, some of our comics that have more experience, we have mic'd the audience for their record. Like we will give freedom to our regulars to wire up the room for a recording,
That's
even if it's
nice.
not an album recording. And I'm just lucky to have a lot of guys with very good skills. But back to Mark's point, I am proud of. I make it a significant effort to get out and see comics perform live. I make it a significant effort to be in my room when most of the comics are on stage. So another strategy is to come out and do a guest spot, even if it's beneath you and it pays $10, because I'm likely to.
Yeah, but a guest spot that pays $10 is like,
Please
that's
tell.
not even a guest spot anymore. That's a paid spot to most comics.
Please
You
tell
understand?
the world.
I didn't get paid for
You-
2 years in Minneapolis.
Oh, in Minneapolis.
Well, that's how I basically, when Heather literally gave me the November 1st and 2nd date, is because me and Adam were dropping in from another place, and then we did the mic.
Yeah.
And then basically at the end of the night, like, November 1st, 2nd, I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, and we had several hangs over the years.
Yeah, that's just smart.
When we used to do dating, every Friday, one show Friday, two show Saturday, we would go in a night early, and the club owner would like get us like we've got a room, like you guys get a room, like with a deal.
Yeah.
So we always say, let's go in a night earlier. We would go to the open mic, and then like the 8 people that went up, we'd walk over and go, that girl's doing the guest spot on the first show, that guy's doing the guest spot on the early show Saturday, and that guy's doing, and that's how we found our micers.
Yeah, and that's great when you work with bookers that are willing to accept that. I'm too controlling.
You know, this guy Wyatt Lutz was like,
Oh, Wyatt.
yeah, he was like a just beginner. And
Oh.
featuring for every famous guy in the Midwest.
Wyatt's crushing right now.
Found him in an open mic and gave him a spot. And then we just happened to like fall in love with his personality.
Also, yes.
Now he was funny, but now he's hilarious. And we became friends with him. There's another guy I've read to us about.
You know, couch
Couching? What?
Edit that. Don't. It's who I am as a person. Couch crashing is great. I wouldn't love it anymore these days, but Mark traveled across the country and slept in his vehicle to make it to,
Who, Mark Cato Palin?
yeah, right there. 2 weeks. Got some gigs in Austin. Attended in my place as industry for a festival. Can I say the festival? It's a good one.
Sure, yeah.
Altercation Fest in Austin. That was in November. He also did Cleveland Comedy Fest right before that. Represented me well, brought back his thoughts, and I took the thoughts I wanted and left the ones I didn't. But